Yeah, there's certain developers which the grain is set at the time of manufacture, really. But the thing is, so I use a lot of out of date film now because I bought a lot before I gave up, retired. When film was really, really cheap, I'd buy 10 rolls of this and 20 rolls of this, and in the end, it all went digital and didn't want film anymore, and I was stuck with loads of film in the refrigerator, loads of it. Then people would give me loads and loads of film all for nothing, and it gradually got out of date. So what happens is the film is maturing all the time. So when it leaves the factory, they've done a microscopic examination of that film under a microscope of the emulsion. And when those crystals reach a certain state of maturity, we'll release that film now to the public. You've got to keep it, they say, keep it cold, keep it cool. Then if you don't keep it in the fridge, and even in the fridge, it matures, it's gradually maturing. Like, over the years, it was 20 years out of date, those crystals have grown larger, they matured, so they get much more grainy, see? So your out-of-date film comes out more grainy. So there's not, really you can't say, make ultra-fine grain developers, and not in vogue now. They did try making them, but it destroyed the sharpness of the emulsion. If you put in a lot of sodium sulphite, it eats away the edge sharpness of your developers. And then there was other things like potassium thiocyanate put in a developer. Try and get the grain down, all these wonderful things. But then staining developers come in. Pyrogallo and pyrocatechin staining developers, they're very good. I've got some of those chemicals. But again, they're carcinogenic. You breathe it in, you be careful, you weigh it out. I mustn't breathe in any of the chemicals. Staining developers I use a lot, yeah. 5-10 pyro and pyrocatechin formulae I mixed up. That's fine grain.
Do you talk about Ilford film, Kodak film, do you have a preference?
Well, Kodak films gone up in price so much now that you need a bank loan to get it. And they've also discontinued so much, but Ilford's still going. So I did like the Tri-X, especially when Pro Micro was used with it, but again, you see, Pro Micro had hexaethylene amino sulfate in, which was carcinogenic. And they found out at the factory they were all getting cancer. It was heap sulfate giving them cancer, so they refused to work with it. So May and Bakers had to stop making Pro Micro. That was their best-selling developer. Yeah, this is where it all happens.
So what have we got going on here?
Well, I've got 3 enlargers, and that was given to me by a Camera Club member. Durst M305 with a colour head. That's why I actually bought that one, LPL, because that would take roll film up to 6x9 it takes. This was given to me by an old gent. That's black and white, that medium format, and it also gave me the Ensign Selfix camera. And this is voltage control for the Durst and the other enlarger, enlarging easel there. There's a load of chemicals here in bottles. Some of the bottles are empty because they're E6, nothing in them. But this is one, D23. All it is methyl and sodium sulphite. I mix up 500 mils at a time. That's a simple one. Then there's a 2-bath one, A and B. And that's mixed up to the diaphrine formula. 2-bath developer.
So black and white.
Black and white, yeah. Then I've got another one, FX37, another Jeffrey Crawley one. That's made up on 13th of November. By squeezing the bottle, it's still good, you see. One of my kind people on my YouTube channel sent me some Rodinal. And that is quite old, but it's usable. So I've decanted it off. And there's some propylene, isopropyl alcohol for cleaning negatives. And I've got, that's the starter for C41 developer kit starter.
Very careful to keep everything labelled.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, C41 bleach replenisher. That's not cheap either. A box down there came from Tattenhall. Over 100 quid for the bleach. It lasts for years. Well, hopefully it lasts for years, but it's so expensive. Then I've got a kettle. You have to have boiling water to stand your solutions in from when you do your colour processing. And these are my this is my colour processing kit. See, that's my C41 developer, bleach and fixer, and that one's for wetting agent. I stand it in there, put the solutions in, put boiling water in there, stick a thermometer in. When it reaches 102 degrees, you start pouring it into your developing tank. And the developing tank is stood either in one of those little things from Tesco's or a bigger developing tank in there, hot water. Someone had a darkroom clear up, gave me that because my one was worn out. So they said, oh, we've got some darkroom stuff we don't want. Have you got a little Patterson 35? Oh yes, brand new, never used. I use it. Whoa, free. So when I have it, I have to take all this off and put it on the floor. And I put my dishes in here in this sink. All this has to be moved. It all goes on the floor. Oh, God. For space. And then all my dishes over there, put them all out and put my chemicals in and pull the curtains over, black it out.
Get it right in the camera, then you haven't got to do too much.
Yeah, I believe in getting it right in the camera if possible, yes. There's so much digital fakery going on. My friend Richard, he does press photography, and his pictures get slated because of things in the background, and he's photographing personalities like Michael Gove coming out of the cabinet office and a red blob in the background or something, the judge slates it, but they're not allowed to clone anything out on press photographs now. Right. I mean, when I did local press photographs, if someone had something growing out of their head, a pole, I would clone that out, but no, he's not allowed to clone anything out. Right. And if they can tell if you've cloned everything out, all their pictures now, because they get thousands and thousands of press pictures from about 10 photographers with motor wines, and you get thousands of pictures of Michael Gove and Rishi Sunak, thousands of pictures, all being sent to the desks, thousands of them, from all the same photographer. Oh, how they pick one out, I don't know. But you're not allowed to clone anything out. But
why is that?
I don't know, because it's the background, you see. Say with the weddings. If I was posing up with people outside and it was in the graveyard, I'd be careful. I'd look at the background with a bright bunch of flowers there, or there's a headstone with a cross. And don't want that. You try and put the background out of focus, but you don't want a big headstone with a happy smiling couple and some poor dead person's headstone there in the background of their wedding photos. You look at the background first, then you put the people in the position. Take the snap, you see. Look at the background first.
Your negatives.
Yeah, load of stuff.
That's your system.
Well, it all lives underneath. 2020, 2021, and then they're all in 1 year. You see, this is my latest one, 2024. They're all film negatives.
You've got folders inside. Yeah, there we go.
Right. So this is one I was given. That is loaded with that Fuji 1600. It's a Pentax MZ5. Bloke came to me, he said, oh, I got fed up with Pentax. He said, would you like my Pentax? Oh yeah, it's free. So it's all different makes of cameras and loads of it. Wow, loads of it.
Yeah,
got Praktikas, Olympus, oh Jesus. So I rotate my cameras, That's what keeps me alive. All the oncologists and surgeons have said they can't understand I'm still alive after 6 cancers. 2 lots of skin cancer and 4 lots of other cancers. Even liver cancer, that spread from my rectal cancer in my liver. So I got a cut here and I got a cut round there, cut in my groin. I've been cut open about 3 or 4 times. But my liver it's mended itself now. There's no sign of any cancer in my liver anymore.
Oh, brilliant.
And my rectal cancer is gone, but I've got my stoma bag. I'm stuck with that the rest of my life now.
You talk about your cancers and things on the videos quite a
yes.
lot. You don't mind being open about
No, I have to be open about it because otherwise so many people can die off because they don't discuss their symptoms with people. They're too scared to mention it. I mean, my nan died of cancer when I was about 8 or 9. it was never spoke about then. I never found out till years later when I got their death certificate when I was in my 40s. I got my nan's death certificate, and my mum and my auntie Ivy, my aunt, they all died. I haven't got any living relatives, only my first daughter. They're all gone. All their death certificates, and in there it says carcinogen, cervical cancer. She's died of it. That wasn't mentioned years ago. Same as they wouldn't let you see a dead body. No, it wasn't mentioned.
Well, it's got to be a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the fact that you've got your passion for photography, and it's giving you something to keep busy with and investigating. And
That's
you're always
right.
learning. You're still learning.
Yeah, still learning. I'm not afraid to say. If a judge says something about me blinking photograph, well, if I agree with it, all right. But if I don't agree with it, it's his fault for not agreeing with my photo.
You talked about your Pentax cameras, and you're known as Pentax Pete.
Yeah.
What is it about Pentax that you like?
Well, at the time, when I started out, my first good camera was a Zeiss Contax bought in Berlin for 38, the equivalent of 38 quid, with a 1.5 uncoated sonar. So it came back to this country, started doing a bit of press work, and I was cutting the top of the mare's head off with a tiny little viewfinder. So one of the partners had been in the RAF and he'd been to Singapore. So he brought back this weird camera called a Zahi Pentax. Nobody ever heard of it. With a weird lens called a Takuma. Also, never heard of a Takuma lens. So we only knew about Zeiss Tessars and like a scimitar lenses. Never heard of a Takuma. But the pictures, wonderful, sharp, and it had a pentaprism. So that was the only one, because even Nikon didn't have a pentaprism. They had started off with rangefinder, you see. Nikon F wasn't out. So the Pentax came out. And one day, I was in Barking, and there was a little crowd of people gathered by the camera shop dealer, looking in the window. I went, oh, what's going on? I rushed over there. Bloody me, they were all looking at one Asahi Pentax S3 camera on show, prior to position, for £87. One only. A whole lot of camera star Brits looking at this camera. I rushed in, I offered my contacts in part exchange, and I rushed out the proud owner of a Pentax. And that's how I got my first Pentax, 1961. There we are. Hey! Yee-hee! Yippee! And I can't read a note of music. All those crutches and quavers, I can't understand them. There we are. Bit of piano playing for you. All right?
Excellent.
Thank you very much for watching, folks.